And I'm well aware of that. I was actually born in what then was called the Diaper Hill section of Louisiana Avenue. And the reason it was called that is because there was about a 1 mile stretch between where Charlie Ward restored his grandfather's house and the truck stop. There were a number of families along that road, and between the 30s and 40s there were always several kids in diapers, mostly Thompsons, because my grandfather had helped provide for a lot of his relatives in that area. And I was born home. I was the sixth child, all of whom were born at home. We were all born in the same bed. It was a walnut bed that my grandfather had made for my parents when they got married, and it's basically a 3/4 size bed, so maybe that accounts for the 6 kids. Anyhow, the day I was born, my mother needed to do some canning because canned food was a big part of our food source in the winter, and she had 30 quarts of tomatoes to can that morning before she had me that afternoon, because she knew that the tomatoes would be bad by the time she could get back up to them. I was delivered by a local doctor whose name I do not know, and my mother told me that there was a nurse by the name of Mrs. Clark. That's all I know.
Is it Dr. Sally?
I don't know. I'm assuming he was a county doctor and she was a county nurse, but I don't know the name of the doctor. When the nurse asked for a name so I could get signed up, my mother hadn't decided on a name. So basically the nurse said, "I'll come back tomorrow, check on you and the baby, and we'll get him signed up." Came back the next day and my mother still hadn't made a decision. So the nurse said, "I can't keep coming back. I'll come back tomorrow, but we've got to get him signed up." So there was a little negotiating that took place, and apparently this woman whose name was a Mrs. Clark suggested that if my mother would name me Clark, she would bring me a pair of booties and a nightgown. Of course, she never returned, and I'm still looking for my treasures. So every time I meet someone whose last name is Clark, I ask them if they ever had a great-grandmother who lived up in North Carolina who was a nurse. I'm still looking for her.
She owes you something, doesn't she?
Yep.